Namibia's most visited ghost town lies just inland from Luderitz. In 1908, railway worker Zacharias Lewala found a diamond here. The town of Kolmanskop was born, and soon a fifth of the world's diamonds were coming from here.
Despite the fact that the geological forces have really closed in on this town, you can see it was a town built on diamonds. It was really opulent.
Yes, well, Jonathan, working in Kolmanskop was quite hard, but living in Kolmanskop was an amazing experience. Look at the beautiful houses they had. Diamonds even lay freely and scattered on the desert surface.
The town had a very short lifespan. 40 years it lived, thrived and died in that time.
The further you go south, the bigger the diamonds get. So by 1928, bigger and better diamonds was found in Oranjemund. So by 1938, most of the workers and equipment went from Kolmanskop to Oranjemund, but only in 1956 did the hospital close in Kolmanskop, and then the last inhabitants started to leave, leaving this town just for the ghosts.
In its heyday, the town offered top wages and virtually everything was free, from company houses to milk deliveries. A sand removing squad cleared the streets daily, but that was then.
Alright, so we're now inside the architect's house.
A pink entrance hall, that's a brave decision. I guess if you're the town's architect, you can afford to make decisions like that.
All the houses inside had the most amazing colors, very bright colors. I mean, we're in the desert. It's so dull outside. They had to bring the color inside. And also the architecture of the house is very German. The ceilings was quite high as well. Alright, we are standing on sand at the moment. But also in between the bricks, they also had pieces of wood. So in the winter times, it was actually nice and warm. In the summer times, nice and cool.
There is a huge temperature shift. It's so cool in here. It's like they had aircon.
The entire town is now an open-air museum run by the diamond industry.
Just watch your head over here.
This gives you a very good sense of how much sand has actually come in over time. More than about 3/4 of this door is covered with sand.
Back then, for a frontier desert community, they were seriously high-tech.
You know, they already had electricity in those days. It was very uncommon. It was so advanced. In Europe, they were still using gas for the lights in the streets. But yeah, they already had electricity.
I think of everything, yeah.
At dinner parties, locals could boast of having the first X-ray machine in southern Africa. Not only for broken bones, but also to check that no one had swallowed a few diamonds before heading home from work.
Yeah, look at that view. You get a real sense from up here how big this town actually was.
Yes, well, the total population of Kolmanskop at one stage, besides the 800 mine workers, they had about 300 German adults and 44 children.
Every morning, the ice vendor delivered the daily ration of ice blocks and cold drinks to each house. Of course, the cool stuff had to come from somewhere.
We are now inside the ice factory here in the desert.
An ice factory. I mean, if you're going to live in the desert, you got to have ice.
Yes. Well, this container over here contained all the salt water, and this trays they use to make the ice because they actually contained fresh water. And they got ammonia gas all the way from Germany, and they pump it through the water, but it's much harder for the salt water to freeze. So the salt water would still be a liquid, but the fresh water froze.
It's a lot of effort to go through to make your drink cold, but I'm sure it was totally worth it in that heat. And that would explain these amazing little fridges that each household had. So the ice would go in the top, and at the bottom you would have all your perishables.
That's right. And this half block of ice could also give about 8 liters of fresh water they could still use.
If I had a choice, I think I would definitely work in the ice factory because that heat out there is unbearable.
Well, they actually had another way to beat the heat.
Okay.
Originally, seawater was pumped from Elizabeth Bay just south of Luderitz all the way up to a reservoir for diamond sorting. Then Kolmanskop locals found another use for it.
What could possibly be so special all the way up here on this hill?
Well, this is now where the people of Kolmanskop came to cool off, the swimming pool.
What? A swimming pool? Perfect. Why didn't you say so before? We're gonna have a quick dip. Oh no! Oh no! There's no water! I can tell you, if I lived here, this is where I would spend my whole day. But when the sun goes down, what's there to do?
Well, the hot spot in town, most definitely the entertainment center.
A whole building dedicated to entertainment. That's my vibe.
lady on the piano is Magdalene Biebenga, our guide sister. Both play piano, sing, and Christu was even top soloist in the Drakensberg Boys Choir.
Oh, here's my talented sister over here, who's actually just played piano to demonstrate the lovely acoustics we have in here.
Oh, this sounds incredible. Well done.
Now, this lovely hall was used for all the entertainment, concerts, shows, balls, banquets. They even had gymnastics in here. You can still see the equipment, but the highlight in this hall, definitely the performances they had. They actually had performers from Germany coming to provide cultural feasts.
It's incredible. You walk through all these buildings and they're derelict, but you get a sense of how the people used to live. It's tangible. You can almost feel it.
I can only imagine what it must have been like to perform in this hall in those days.
Well, you know what? You don't have to imagine anymore. Rumor has it the two of you have amazing voices. So let's hear.
Jonathan provided accompaniment.
No prep time.
I heard that you settled down, that you met a girl and you're married now.
Sure.
Gymnastics they'd leave for another day. Then, just when we thought we'd seen it all,
That's so cool. They had their own bowling alley.
Yes, well, this skittle alley was built to resemble a traditional German one, and they had two people at the back, and they would roll the balls back up. But today, my sister's going to do that for us.
You ready down there?
Ready?
Because this ball looks very dangerous. It's not round, it has no space for my fingers, and it's very heavy. But no excuses, I'm going to give it a try.
the earliest record of bowling is 5,000 years ago in Egypt, so you could say the sport's come home to Africa.
Chris, thank you so much. I've had such a good taste for what it was like to live like in those days.
It's a pleasure.
I'm going to give this one more try. I'm getting the hang of it.
Our neighbouring country continues to bowl us over. Our thanks to the Namibia Tourism Board, Air Namibia and the locals for showing us their magnificent country.